there will be a war between the United States of America and Russia. Shalom. First and foremost, giving God praises, honor, glory, respect, and blessings to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rakha Kwadash. Salutations to the Lord's elect on the four corners of the earth, pushing this truth and sincerity while patiently waiting for Yahweh Shai's return. And double honors to our apostles and elders of Great Millstone, which have taught us everything we know through the spirit and power of Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai. And this is going to be a quick video, a question that was basically asked on a news article website, a alternative news media website called RT.com. And here you see, who will blink first? Is nuclear war between Russia and the U.S. possible? The answer is yes. Now, I'm not saying yes because it's of my own answer. I'm saying that the answer is yes because the Holy Scriptures say that there will be war between the United States and Russia. First, let's go to Isaiah chapter 13, verse 17. Okay, it's not going to be a long video. It says, "Behold, I will stir up the Medes." Who are the Medes? The Medes are the Russians. Now, when you look on the ancient biblical maps, right, you will see that where the Russians dwell today is the exact same land that was once inhabited by Japhetic people. And as a matter of fact, when you look into Mede, you will actually find out that he is actually a descendant of Japheth. Okay, you will learn that he is a descendant of Japheth. Okay, so originally where the Russians dwell at today, that land was originally inhabited by Japhetic people. Okay, so the Medes were Japhetic people. Now, in today's time, who's dwelling in the land of Medes? The Russians are. So when the Lord said that He would stir up the Medes in today's time, that's talking about Russia. The Lord's going to stir up Russia against them. Now, who were the Medes known for taking down back in the ancient world? They were known for taking down the Babylonians, the ancient Babylonians. Okay, and a matter of fact, it was Cambyses, the son of Cyrus, who had taken down Babylon. Now Babylon was not completely taken down, as in like being destroyed. It was simply hijacked, meaning Babylon started being ruled by Median descendants, by Persian descendants. You see, so Babylon was not ancient Babylon was not destroyed, as in like just being completely burned to the ground. No, Babylon, the leader of Babylon was killed, and then the leader of Babylon was ruled by a Median ruler. Okay, so it was Cambyses who had taken down Babylon, which Babylon is one of those three ribs spoken of in Daniel's the 7th chapter, when he speaks about the bear that stood upon his feet and he had three ribs in his mouth. Well, those three ribs was Lydia, Egypt, and Babylon. So Babylon is one of those three ribs inside the mouth of that bear, in which that bear represents the Medo-Persian Empire. Okay, now in today's time, who is Babylon? Well, Babylon is the United States of America, and that's according to Bible prophecy. And a matter of fact, when you go to Revelation, let's go to Revelation real quick, okay? Because the scriptures speak about the great whore that set up upon many waters, multitudes, tongues, and nations. Okay, so Revelation, let's see. Okay, if it's drunken with the blood of the saints, yeah, this country was drunken with the blood of the saints, because this is the land where the most bloodshed of the Israelites was shedded at. Okay, from the time that Christopher Columbus came over here, all the way up until now, the blood of the Israelites had been shedded. Okay, so I meant verse 15. Okay, Revelation chapter 17, verse 15. And he saith unto me, the waters which thou sawest where the whore sitteth. Who's the whore? The whore is America. Okay, are peoples and multitudes and nations and tongues. Now, I want to direct your attention to tongues. Now, another word for tongues is what? Languages. Okay, what is the language that is predominantly spoken amongst these other nations? English. Okay, when you go to Al Jazeera, you see Arabians in the news speaking English whenever they're broadcasting events concerning their land or concerning what's going on in other countries. Europeans, what are they speaking? Okay, predominantly they're speaking English outside of their native language, just like how the Arabs are speaking English out of their native language. Okay, the East Indians, okay, they're speaking English outside of their native language. Chinese and Japanese people speaking English outside of their native language. Okay, and what is the native language of these so-called Americans? English. Okay, so the whole world, basically outside of their native language, these different nations are speaking English, which further proves that America is Babylon. So Isaiah 13 verse 17, behold, I will stir up the Medes, the Russians against them. Against who? The United States of America, which shall not regard silver, and as for gold, they shall not delight in it. Right? These Russians, they're not going to care about money. They're going to be out for blood. Now, recently I read a news article which basically stated that the United States have aided Ukraine in attacking the western border of Russia, killing at least one person and injuring several people. So when the time comes for Russia to invade the United States of America, they're going to be out for blood. They ain't going to care about no money. They ain't going to care about any of that. Their bows shall dash the young men to pieces. Their guns. Okay, the bows is a metaphor for their guns, because like how they show you in that movie Red Dawn 1. Okay, when Russia was invading America, they were shooting people. They were shooting all sort of American civilians. Their bows shall dash the young men to pieces, and they shall have no pity on the fruit of the womb. Their eyes shall not spare children. And Babylon, the United States of America, the glory of kingdoms, the beauty of the Chaldeans, the beauty of the Chaldees' excellency. Now, if you notice, it says Babylon is the glory of kingdoms, right? Because all of these kingdoms follow after the manner of Babylon. Okay, the first skyscraper was built where? Here in the United States of America, within the state of Chicago. You didn't hear about skyscrapers in China or Japan or down there in Arabia or Saudi Arabia or down there in India. Okay, you didn't hear about skyscrapers being down in Dubai. You didn't hear about skyscrapers being down there in New Bani or Libya or Ghana or South Sudan. You didn't hear about skyscrapers being in any of these different countries until people came to the Americas and they actually saw skyscrapers over here. That's where China and these other countries get the idea of skyscrapers from. They got it from America. Okay? McDonald's started here in America. Now look, you got a McDonald's in Japan, you got a McDonald's in China, you got a McDonald's in Africa, you got a McDonald's in Australia. So these countries have developed their ways after the manner of America, even though they do keep their own customs to a high degree, but still, they got skyscrapers, you know, their men are wearing suits. Where did they get that idea from? They got it from America. Men dressed in black suits while on the news or when doing a presentation. Now look, you got Chinese and Japanese gooks wearing suits. You got Arabians, you know, wearing suits. You got Africans wearing suits. So America, which is Babylon the Great, is the glory of kingdoms. The beauty of the Chaldees' excellency shall be as when Yahweh overthrew Sodom and Gomorrah. So how was ancient Sodom and Gomorrah destroyed? By fire and brimstone. In other words, the Lord rained meteorites on that place because it was wicked. That city was basically an abomination. because nothing but abominations was going on there. Okay, incest, pedophilia, bestiality, homosexuality. What else? You know, women lying down with women, men having sex with men. You know, men having sex with animals. All those things was going on in Sodom and Gomorrah. Okay, sins which were unto death. So those people were considered an abomination. So the Lord rained meteorites on them. Now in this generation, the fire and brimstone is going to come in the form of what? Intercontinental ballistic missiles, which can carry up to hundreds of nuclear warheads at a time. Okay, the whole purpose of an intercontinental ballistic missile is to travel from one continent to another. That's why it's called intercontinental ballistic missile, because these are missiles which are designed to travel from one country to another, to travel from one continent to another, while carrying multiple nuclear warheads. Because once they get to their destination, okay, they rain down from the sky where the capsule comes off, and multiple nuclear warheads come out of that one intercontinental ballistic missile. Okay, so it shall never be inhabited. So this is talking about after the nuclear destruction of America. But who's going to bring that nuclear destruction upon America? Well, the scriptures answers all things. Let's go to Jeremiah chapter 51 verse 11. Okay, this is who's going to destroy America ultimately. Okay, well, besides NATO, because NATO is going to turn on the United States of America, and that's presuming to Revelation 17 verse 17 and Obadiah chapter 1 verse 7. Jeremiah 51 verse 11, make bright the arrows, gather the shields. The Lord had raised up the spirit of the king of the Medes, the Russians. Okay, the Russians are the ones dwelling in the land of the Medes. Okay, even though they changed the name of that area to Russia, originally the name of that place was called Mede, because the sons of Japheth was living in those areas. Okay, the Japhetic people. But now you got Edomites living in those areas calling themselves Russians. So it says, for his device, what device? Well, let's figure out what that device is. So let's go to Isaiah chapter 54 verse 16. Okay, let's figure out what that device is. Isaiah 54 verse 16, behold, I have created the smith that bloweth the coals in the fire. Now back in the ancient world, a smith was known for what? Making weapons of warfare. Rather, if it was dual-wielding blades, swords, staffs, nunchucks, three-way staffs, rather if they were ring blades, okay, bows made from steel, arrows made from steel, arrows, you know, rather if it was dual-wielding blades, rather if it was ox goads, rather if it was morning stars, shields, lances, okay, assassin blades, single-handed blades, you know, broadswords, bastard swords, two-handed blades, two-handed swords, long swords. You know, a blacksmith was known for making various different types of weapons. Okay, so in today's time, your modern day smiths will be who? Your scientists, because they're the ones splitting the atoms and making all these weapons of mass destruction. So your scientists will be your modern day smiths that blow up the coals in the fire, making all these bombs and hydrogen bombs and nuclear bombs and nuclear warheads. Okay, so behold, I have created smith that blow up the coals in the fire, that bringeth forth an instrument for his work. And I have created the waster. Who's the waster? That device spoken of in Jeremiah 51 verse 11. And I have created the waster to destroy. Okay, so now let's go back. So that waster is that device which the Lord is going to use to put the spirit on Russia to use on America. which is Babylon. So Jeremiah 51 verse 11, make bright the arrows, which the arrows is a metaphor for what? Those intercontinental ballistic missiles. Now, back in Jeremiah's time, there was no such thing as a intercontinental ballistic missile or a nuclear warhead. So when he saw these intercontinental ballistic missiles being shot off into the atmosphere of the earth, right? The best way he could describe these arrows, the best way he could describe these missiles was what? An arrow. Because when you look at an arrow and you look at a missile, they're both built in a much similar fashion. Because the way an arrow is designed, right? An arrow is designed to be able to penetrate through the air at high velocity, so that when it strikes its target, it's guaranteed to pierce or penetrate their target. You know, because think of it this way: if an arrow, if the tip of an arrow was shaped like a block, right, and then the back of the arrow basically did not have any like fins, or I guess you could say fins, right? Basically, when you shot that arrow, it will quickly lose velocity, it will lose speed, it will lose height, and eventually it'll just fall to the ground. But there's a reason why the tip of the arrow is shaped like that of it's shaped like a sharp pyramid. Okay, there's a reason why the tip of an arrow is shaped like a pyramid. You know. Or the tip of it is shaped like a sharp cone. And there's a reason why the arrows have fins on the back of it. Okay, because the fins on the back of the arrows is what helps the arrow to basically maintain coordinates when it's being shot off. Because if the arrow only had one fin instead of three, then basically when you shot the arrow, it would be bound to turn either to the left or to the right instead of shooting straight, just like how you shot it. So the arrow has three fins on the back of it, so that way it can maintain coordinates as to where you're shooting it. So when Jeremiah saw these missiles, he saw that the tip of the missile was similar to that of an arrow. When he saw the back of the missile, he saw what? He saw three fins on the back of the missile. He saw three fins on the back of the missile, which was used to make sure that wherever the missile was being shot off at, its coordination would be on point with where it was being shot off at. So when Jeremiah saw a missile, the best way he could describe it was that of an arrow. So the arrows here is metaphorically speaking of intercontinental ballistic missiles. So make bright the missiles, gather the shields. The Lord hath raised up the spirit of the king of the Medes for his device. What device? That waster spoken of in Isaiah chapter 54 verse 16. For his device, for that waster, is against who? Against Babylon, which is the United States of America, to destroy it. So will there be nuclear war between Russia and the United States? Absolutely. Okay, I'm reading it right here. Okay, the Lord hath raised up the spirit of the king of the Medes. The Lord hath raised up the Russians, for his device, that waster, is against Babylon, to destroy it, because it is the vengeance of the Lord, the vengeance of his temple. So the Lord is going to use Babylon. So the Lord is going to use Russia to destroy Babylon, which is the United States of America. And there's going to be many other countries that's going to join Russia in shooting intercontinental ballistic missiles on the United States of America. Okay, so after the nuclear destruction of America, it shall never be inhabited. Okay, Isaiah 13:20. Neither shall it be dwelt in from generation to generation, neither shall the Arabian pitch tent there, neither shall the shepherds make their fold there. So this place is going to be a desert. It will never be inhabited. Never. Except by desert-like creatures. But wild beasts of the desert shall lie there, and the houses shall be full of doleful creatures, and owls shall dwell there, and satyrs shall dance there. Okay, and satyrs shall dance there. And the wild beasts of the islands shall cry in their desolate houses, and dragons in their pleasant palaces. And their time is near to come. her days shall not be prolonged. So there you have it. Okay, the Lord is going to use Russia to go. The Lord is going to put the spirit on Russia to go to war against the United States for the sole purpose of destroying Babylon with that waster, which is going to be those intercontinental ballistic missiles. With that, I'm going to say shalom. It's on to the next one.